Hey guys, I'm here to tell you guys kind of like a secret about trading. I've been trading for the past 2 years. Um, I've given away at least $10,000 in prop firms, honestly. Not necessarily proud to admit that, but it's the truth. And recently, I've just started to become more profitable. I started to understand what hedge funds and I guess you can say quant traders mean when really their edge is what's the most important, and how traders actually get in the way of letting their edge play out by being over leveraged in most situations. And most traders end up letting their system fail because they are over leveraged. For example, usually they will be right about, like, let's say at least 50-60% of the time, but their stop loss will get hit and it will immediately reverse right back up to or even down to where they think the price was originally going to go. Essentially, if that's not even true either. What I would say is, if you're one of those people that are constantly getting their stop losses hit and it instantly reversing about where your stop loss was, that still means you're thinking like most of the retail traders and you're still pretty much getting swept right every time. So I'm going to teach you guys how to prevent that from happening and how at least I was able to start profiting off of this. So what do most hedge funds and prop firm gurus try to tell you guys? Most of the time they tell you guys to risk 1-2% of the account each trade, right? I would say that the most consistent way I was able to figure things out was between risking 0.5% of your account and 1%. The reason you want to be risking 0.5 or 1% is because you actually want to be able to let your system play out. When you risk 2% per trade, and let's say your max daily drawdown is 3%, you really can't really enter back in with the same amount of leverage you originally were. So to prevent that from happening, if you risk 0.5% and your daily drawdown is 4%, if they sweep you, you can actually enter right back in, put your same exact stop loss, so, 0.5% away from your original or previous entry, and you can ride the trend right back up. And you'll pretty much get your money right back that you just lost in the previous trade. And that's what I started to understand about a few weeks ago. And ever since then, I've started to become more profitable. Like last 2 or 3 months, I was able to make 5-6% on the accounts and able to pass a couple of alpha traders a prop firm. And I think that most people, when they're trading, they're over leveraged. And what I mean by over leveraged is when they go onto these smaller time frames, they will look for the supply and demand zones and these, how do you say, hammers or reversals, and they'll put their stop or anything above the swing high or the swing low, trying to catch the trend, and not realizing that with these smaller time frames, these tallest time frames aren't as consistent as the highly daily or weekly time frames, God forbid even monthlies. And that's why most traders ended up getting swept, quote unquote, is because they're still looking at these lower time frames trying to get more money because they're trying to leverage more money on the smaller time frames when they should be taking a bigger time frame approach. And I think if they were to look at bigger time frames, they won't be getting swept as much. And if they did get swept, they can realistically just enter right back in and just go along with the trend still, just because you're only risked 0.5% or 1%. So it's okay to lose again on the same exact trade, because now you just lose 2% versus losing 4% if you risk 2% each trade. And I think that the reason I believe that most people should be trading prop firms is because it's not your own capital, and then 2, they actually give you more money than you would be trading if your own account. And honestly, I was against that at first, but that's actually a pretty good fucking deal. And you honestly want to be trading with the prop firm's money. It's just straight up better. But again, to get around their high restrictive rules, because you're trading your account, no one cares if you lose 10%, only you do. But when you're trading the prop firm, they care a lot if you lose 10% in one trade. So to get around their strict ass rules, trading 0.5%, 1%, it's okay eventually, because you're going to have so many prop firm accounts. Let's say $1 million. If you have $1 million in prop firm accounts and you make 1% that week, you made 10 grand that week. That's not pretty fucking good if you ask me. And again, most hedge funds, I was watching a fucking podcast the other day. Did you know about 40% of hedge funds, 40% go under each year? 40%. I mean, dude, if you're making 5% to 8% a month, you're being at least 50%. You're being at least 50% of hedge funds. And this is what I mean. Once you get like $10 million and you're in head prop firms, and they're a legit one, so you know, every time you get a payout, they're not banning you or restricting your payouts. Honestly, 5% of 10 million or even $1 million in prop firms is fucking amazing. You're making 50 grand a month. That will replace my job pretty fucking easily. And I think that if you can let's say you keep working your job, like you make 3 grand or 4 grand a month, right? 3 or 4 grand a month, you probably got 2.5 grand in bills. So let's say $500 to $1,000 a month, right? If you can buy one prop firm account each a week or each, let's say 2 weeks or whatever, honestly, if you don't keep blowing those accounts and you keep stacking them and you let your edge play out because you're always risking 0.5 to 1% of your account and you're not over leveraging and, blowing the account every week like I was, you're honestly going to be a pretty good doing fucking job. Because honestly, yeah, if you let your account stack up and you start making 5% a month on $1 million, that's still pretty good. And that's 1% a week or 1.25% a week. All right. So what is this channel going to be about? This channel is going to be about helping traders understand their own psychology and maybe figure out and try to help them with their own systems. Because I think, again, I don't know if it's necessarily the trader system, but their psychology using their own system. And if most traders can master their own psychology, I think they would be a lot more successful. And I'm going to try to help people with that. Well, guys, I forgot to do an outro for the video. So I like to go over the takeaways one more time for the video. So, number 1 takeaway, over leveraging. Over leveraging on prop firm accounts is going to cost you a lot of money, just simply because if you're risking 2% per trade and your max daily drawdown is 4%, you cannot enter right back in off of the sweep if you were to get swept off the supply zone or even demand zone. And if you use risk 1%, now you can enter right back in. And if you catch the trend up, you're right back to break even. Number 2, make sure you're using your own prop firms. I was using my own money at first, and I was able to get back to break even on a Wanda. But after I got back to break even, I ended up losing like 10% of my account in one trade. And I was sad for about a couple of weeks, obviously, and sad for a couple of weeks. And my friend, he told me to start looking at prop firms, and I was against him at first. And the more I thought about it, he was right. Prop firms are just better. So number 2, I would recommend using prop firms. I use AlphaTrader. AlphaTrader allows you to buy back your accounts after you breach them, even if they are funded. If they're funded, they will literally allow you to buy it right back in, and you have still a funded account basically forever. So I do recommend using prop firms if you were to trade. And it's going to be hard abiding by the rules at first, because that's what happened to me. It took me several months to understand how to abide by the trading prop firms rules, but once you do, you're good to go. So over leveraging and using prop firms, those are the main 2 takeaways from this video. I will be posting a lot more content, guys. I will be posting at least a few videos every single week. But the main part of this channel, the main idea of this channel, I should say, is I want to help traders understand their own psychology behind their own trading. If they can risk 1% each trade, it's going to prevent them from blowing up. Me, I was risking 2, 4, 5% each trade. That's stupid. I was just being stupid. But if you can avoid that and not do what I do, or did, it'll be a lot more profitable. What else? I think that's all, you guys. That's all good for the first video. Don't make the video first too long. Alright guys, hope you guys liked the video. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.